Greetings and salutations, friends. Welcome to week 8, I think it is, of the WCBL report. I'm Joe McFarland, and I am flying solo this week because Clark Monroe is on the IL with a lower body injury. Here's hoping he gets back onto the IKS desk soon. On a related note, I had no idea what a patellar tendon injury was until he told me about what happened to him. It sounds gnarly. So everyone here, of course, wishing him the very best in his recovery. On to this week's show, and we have a fantastic, jam-packed show lined up with the usual news and notes from around the Western Canadian Baseball League as we head into the major showcase of every season, the annual Home Run Derby and All-Star Game, which is being held this year, of course, in Okotoks at Siemens Stadium. And if I had a breaking news stinger, I would say, we have some breaking news. This just in. Actually, today, if you're watching on Wednesday, the Home Run Derby participants have been announced. So let's get to them right here and now. We have all 12 teams being represented this year, starting with Wyatt Ormonde of the Brooks Bombers, who has 4 on the season. Matt Rhodes in Fort McMurray also has 4 on the season. Jack Kaliski's been on a bit of a tear of late, now has 8. He's a returner from last season. He hit 7 in round 1 of the Home Run Derby back in 2024. Another returner, Nash Kroll of the Okotoks Dogs, he hit 5 in round 1 last season. Aiden Macris, this will be his first go at a Home Run Derby. He's representing the Sylvan Lake Gulls. And Timo Aracena, who is 4 this season for the Energy City Cactus Rats. Over in the East Division, it's Tyler Van Este of the Medicine Hat Mavericks. He has 6 on the campaign. Austin Gurney's back for his second Home Run Derby, as he had 7 in round 1 last year and advanced to round 2 with 5 for the Moose Jaw Miller Express. Brady Bai of the Regina Red Sox, a hometown boy getting to rep his hometown team. He's got 5 on the season. Ethan Menard is leading the league, or in a co-lead, with 9 home runs this season. Will be representing Saskatoon Berries. Wilmer Henriquez has 8 on the season for the Swift Current 57s. And Ian Heck of the Weyburn Beavers wraps things up. He was Weyburn's representative last year as well. He has 4 this season for the Weyburn Beavers. And to go back a little bit in time, so you know who's won over the last 3 seasons in Okotoks, Nolan Machibroda was the winner back in 2022, he of the Weyburn Beavers. Hank Dodson won as his dad was actually pitching to him back in 2023. And then last year, a pretty emotional win for Peyton McDowell of Fort McMurray Giants, as he lost a beloved family member just a couple of weeks before the Home Run Derby and All-Star Game again in Okotoks. Now, we are expecting the coaching staffs as well as the starting lineups to be announced later on this week as well. So make sure you keep it locked on the WCBL's website, their social media channels, and we'll keep you all updated throughout the show, through a little bit later on in the show, as far as what the broadcast plans are concerned. So All-Star Game, we've done. Let's move on to the action that's been happening on the field now over the last few days. And we'll start with the Sunday night games. And it starts with Brooks as they bombed the Energy City Cactus Rats 15-5. Then over in Saskatoon, Carter Beck and Jalen Freeman, they hit home runs in an 11-6 win. Okotoks finished off a massive road trip through Fort McMurray in convincing fashion as well, 16-4 there. Fantastic pitching performance in Lethbridge from Seamus Ryan as the Bulls beat up on the Sylvan Lake Gulls 5-3, and Matthew Fox with a 2-homer day as the Regina Red Sox outlasted Moose Jaw 9-7. I would normally hear skip to Monday. There were some games planned on Monday. Didn't happen because Mother Nature said no bueno. Rain all across the prairie. So we didn't have any games on Monday. Fast forward to Tuesday night's games, and it starts with the Brooks Bombers. They pull off a dramatic 10-9 extra innings win over the Regina Red Sox. Seth Reeker with the RBI single in the 10th in that one. Aaron Volcano and Carter Roth homer as Medicine Hat downs Lethbridge 9-5. Weyburn wins another extra innings nail-biter 5-4 over the Moose Jaw Miller Express. And a battle of the behemoths going down in Okotoks last night. Saskatoon pulling off the 11-8 win over Okotoks. The Berries were actually down 5-0 after the first inning of that one. They scored 7 in the 6th to take the lead for good. Those 2 teams will be doing battle again tonight at Siemens Stadium in Okotoks. We'll get to the upcoming schedule in just a few minutes. So how did all of those games figure into the standings? Well, let's take a look now and see where everybody's at. And kind of the tale of two different stories in the West. We have Okotoks, Sylvan Lake, and Lethbridge all within 2.5 games of each other. So every battle between those three teams is going to be monumental at this point in the season because they're all vying for that home field advantage in the playoffs. And especially that 2-3 battle, you want home field advantage for sure. So, and then the secondary story to that is look at how the last playoff spot in the West is shaping up. There's one game separating Energy City, Fort McMurray, and Brooks right now. That is going to be, again, another behemoth of a last 3 weeks of the regular season here, heading into the August long weekend, which is when the regular season wraps up in the Western Canadian Baseball League. Over in the East, kind of the tale of three stories. The top story, of course, look at that record for the Saskatoon Berries, 32-5 on the campaign. The record for wins in the season's 44. Small reminder, Sylvan Lake said it last year. Will Saskatoon beat it? That becomes a question mark. They've already captured a playoff spot. They're guaranteed in. Medicine Hat and Regina, that's story number 2. There's a little bit of a barrier. It looks like right now that's going to be your first round matchup in the East for the 2-3 battle. And then Moose Jaw's opened up a 6.5 game lead over Weyburn. There's some distance there. So barring either Moose Jaw going into a bit of a slump or Weyburn or maybe even Swift Current going on an absolute tear, that seems to be starting to figure itself out. Weyburn struggled of late. And we're going to show that now with the power rankings because as it turns out, Weyburn has dropped to the bottom of the power rankings there because of their struggles of late. Swift Current has also struggled, but they've also picked up a couple of wins of late as well. So we'll see how things play out there. And as you go up the list, Fort Mac, as mentioned, Fort Mac, Energy City, and Brooks, all in that battle for that final playoff spot in the West. Moose Jaw holding steady in number 4. And then, of course, a little bit of movement 4 through 6 as Medicine Hat has had a couple of losses. Lethbridge has had a couple more losses, but it's been neck and neck throughout. And those top 3 positions have not moved an inch. Incredible stuff as we head into the final 3 or 4 weeks of the regular season. Let's fast forward now and take a look at some of the statistical leaders that we normally do here on the show. We're going to start with our batting leaders, I believe. And there they are. Batting average, and a really interesting story with Bernie Sakaros as he has overtaken Ethan Millard for top spot in the batting average lead. Or talk more about why he's been able to do so and how he's been able to do so in just a minute. A couple of other names that have really kind of caught my eye over the last little bit here. Ethan Menard just continues to do what he does best, it seems, is mash. And he's only played in quite a few less games than a lot of the other guys on this list. And another guy to keep an eye on seems to be Zane Scansey of the Okotoks Dogs. As much as he's dropped a little bit in the batting averagely, he's still a top guy in every single statistical category. So a guy you're going to see in the All-Star game as well. Let's head over to the home run leaders now. And at the top of the list, Evan Morrison, the hometown kid from Medicine Hat, doing well. I think he's hit 3 home runs in the last week and a half or so. He's now in a tie with Ethan Menard of the Saskatoon Berries, who's having himself, again, another amazing campaign with the Berries. Zane Scansey is there. Another name to kind of keep an eye on has been Jaden Flores. We're going to see from Jaden Flores in a second with the play of the week. But he's been quietly just doing his business, and he's an all-star as well. So it'll be fun to watch what Jaden Flores can bring to the table. And as you can see at the bottom of the screen there, there's quite a few guys at 6. And so if anybody goes on a tear, this home run leaderboard is going to maybe flip over a couple of times before the end of the season. As mentioned, we have one guy who's really been tearing it up in the batting average category, and he happens to be the WCBL Player of the Week as chosen by myself and those who happen to run the boards behind IKS Media. Our Player of the Week this week happens to be none other than the Lethbridge Bulls leadoff hitter. He is wearing number 1 for those Lethbridge Bulls. Congratulations to Bernie Sakaros. 474 on the week, 9 for 19, two doubles, two home runs, three RBI, three stolen bases. Again, he hits leadoff for the team. Got to see him on Canada Day. He was just all over the map for that team, all over the base paths for the Lethbridge Bulls in a pair of wins over Weyburn. Most impressive, though, was that bottom stat. 19-game hitting streak is Bernie Sakaros. He has hit safely for a month straight. You have to go back to, I believe it's June 16th is the last time that Bernie Sakaros win a game without a hit. He's been on an absolute tear. I know. It's just insanity, isn't it? Let's transition now. Another guy that I mentioned during the stats report there happens to be our play of the week, and I'm going to let Jim Clegg, at the play-by-play voice of the Sylvan Lake Gulls, tell the story.
He's going down to the bullpen just in case, and a great play there by Jaden Flores. They're going to turn a double play to end this game. Oh my goodness. Jaden Flores, Bryce Hampton turn an out.
I don't know if you heard the PA announcer, Joe Whitbread, when that play happened right at the very end. He goes, wow. And I think everybody in the stadium and everybody watching went, wow, that was an MLB style double play ball, because it takes a lot to be able to spin around and then throw to second, have the wherewithal to throw to second. I guarantee you, I'm beer league slow pitch player, not good in any way, shape, or form. But I guarantee you I'm airmailing it out into right field if I try to do that 9 times out of 9. So congratulations to Jaden Flores, our play of the week, with that beauty to end the game on Friday night between the Sylvan Lake Gulls and the Brooks Bombers. And again, congratulations to Bernie Sakaros of the Lethbridge Bulls, as he is the WCBL's player of the week. All right. Moving right along here. Let's go into the alumni updates that we typically do here on the WCBL report. And instead of our usual rundown of who's doing good in the pro ranks, let's talk about who could be doing good in the pro ranks in just a few short years, or maybe even later on this fall, to be honest with you, because the MLB draft was held on Sunday and Monday, 20 rounds, 615 selections made, also some free agent signings that have been made over the last couple of days, as well as guys that were not drafted were able to maybe sign on the dotted line, so to speak. Now, the WCBL had 4 players with connections to the league selected during the draft, and all 4 happen to be members of the Okotoks Dogs. Tim Piazentine went in the 5th round to the Toronto Blue Jays. He is on there. He's a high school player. He's with the Dogs Academy program. He's an affiliate player with the Dogs. Didn't actually get to play in a game this season, but we're counting it. Ty Doucette, who stepped up for Dogs Red, I believe, back in the 2021 COVID abbreviated season. He went in the 10th round to the Cincinnati Reds. Then we have Tyrell Chadwick, who is a longtime member of the Dogs Academy and Okotoks Dogs program. Pitcher out of Illinois State, goes 18th round to the Colorado Rockies. And finally, just a few picks later, actually, Cannon Reeder, who is a member of the 2023 WCBL champion Okotoks Dogs, went in the 18th round as well to the Pittsburgh Pirates. And another, as mentioned, a couple of guys signing pro deals or getting close to pro deals as well. Former Edmonton prospect, now known as the Energy City Cactus Rats, Johnny McGill signed on the dotted line with the Los Angeles Angels. And there are murmurs, and I've heard these murmurs for a while, that former Sylvan Lake Gull Ty Boudreau, who had an outstanding performance, had it not been for Bernie Sakaros doing his thing, Ty Boudreau struck out 13 in his final outing with the Sylvan Lake Gulls this past week. He has been of interest to the New York Yankees for a while. Now, nothing has been made official yet, but there are murmurs in the baseball world that, hey, maybe a deal could be coming soon. So stay tuned, because we might have more on that in the days, weeks, and months ahead. All right, speaking of the days, weeks, and months ahead, let's move on to the schedule and what's to come in the next 3 days or so across the WCBL. And we'll start with the Wednesday night games. And I think the big one on the list here, you look on the right-hand side, it is the second half of the the two-game homestand for the Okotoks Dogs as they take on the number 1 Saskatoon Berries. Elsewhere, Sylvan Lake at home to Fort McMurray. Swift Current is in Weyburn. Moose Jaw hosts the Medicine Hat Mavericks, and the Brooks Bombers welcome the Regina Red Sox for the second half of their twin bill. Again, last night, an absolute thriller. Brooks wins in a walk-off. Fast forward to Thursday and another full slate of games. It's only going to get busier because there's not only the regular slate of games, but teams are starting to try to pick up some of those rain delays and rainouts that we've had, including Monday's 3 or 4 games. And I think there was one on Tuesday night that was rained out as well. Sylvan Lake at home again to Fort McMurray. Lethbridge home to Saskatoon. That's the first time the Berries have visited Lethbridge. We have Weyburn at home to Swift Current. Brooks is in, I think Brooks is actually the home team in that one. I got to double check on that one with Energy City. The Ross Wells Park will be hosting the Moose Jaw Miller Express and the Medicine Mavericks. And Okotoks gets more Saskatchewan as the Regina Red Sox come to town. And then on Friday, kind of the same sort of story. Not a lot of changes there. Sylvan at home to Fort Mac. Lethbridge at home to Saskatoon. The bit of a switcheroony as Swift Current is at home to Weyburn. Brooks takes on Energy City. The Moose Jaw Miller Express head to Medicine Hat. And again, the Regina Red Sox, the second half of that 2-game set against the Okotoks Dogs at Siemens Stadium in Okotoks, which is going to be an absolute buzz of activity heading into Saturday. Because Saturday, there's one game and one big event. We have the Home Run Derby. We have the All-Star Game. The best of the best will be gathering in Okotoks once again for what is now the 4th year in a row of the WCBL's Home Run Derby and All-Star Game at Siemens Stadium. And for those wondering, hey, Joe, what's going on with the broadcast for that game? Well, here's what you can expect. Starting at 4 o'clock, our All-Star coverage begins, and you'll be able to find it on Flow Sports. We're working on some of the details around whether we can find maybe a YouTube home for it as well. We'll keep it locked in the WCBL social media channels. We'll keep you all updated on that. Pre-game show is going to feature a number of guests, including League President Kemp Kavami, Okotoks Dogs Managing Director John Arcandia. Matt Stairs is the guest of honor. He's going to be joining us, as well as the latest WCBL Hall of Fame inductee. I'm not going to tell you who it is, but I'll tell you that we're going to get him on the show. 5 o'clock, the Home Run Derby presented by Pete the Plumber will take center stage. The Golden Bat will be on display. And then immediately following the Home Run Derby, we get more pregame coverage. We're going to have live analysis of the Home Run Derby. We're going to have a few more guests coming up during the show. And I hear the league president, Kevin Kavami, told me, stay tuned. There's an announcement coming during that 6 o'clock hour. I have no idea what it is. He just says an announcement. I think he knows I can't hold secrets. 7:05, first pitch between the West Division and East Division, the All-Star Game presented by Fortis Alberta. And then we have fireworks to end the show, as always. So it's going to be a jam-packed, action-packed show lined up for you on the All-Star Game coming up again on Saturday. Check out Flow Sports for more on that. Another big piece of news we've got going on before we let you go here on the WCBL Report is the WCBL is fantastic at giving back to the communities. Each of the teams has a number of initiatives that goes on throughout the course of the season, and there are a few league-wide initiatives that happen. And one of them is the WCBL Food Bank Drive, and a number of dates are coming up. Now you see it on the schedule, brought to you by our friends at Access Storage and Sentinel Storage. Lethbridge happened just a couple of nights ago. Okotoks is tonight, if you happen to be watching here on Wednesday. Sylvan Lake, Energy City, Fort McMurray, Moose Jaw, Saskatoon, and Regina all hosting dates over the next few weeks, as well as we head towards that August long weekend and the end of the WCBL regular season. I have no idea how we're this close to the end of the regular season already. This is just bananas. And of course, then we get into the playoffs. 3 rounds of playoff series will be coming your way in very short order. I know. It's just when you get into the swing of things, and all of a sudden it's over and done. But speaking of over and done, that's going to do it for this edition of the WCBL Report. I am Joe McFarland, filling in, flying solo, as we again wish Clark Monroe nothing but the best in his recovery, and hopefully we get to see him in action. Might be during this All-Star Game festivities. Stay tuned. Again, 4 o'clock is when we start all the live coverage of All-Star Weekend here in the Western Canadian Baseball League for the entire and incredible crew at IKS Media, who's doing a fantastic job making sure I look pretty-ish for my home studio. Thank you so much for tuning in. We'll see you all next time here on the WCBL Report.
just a bit outside. He tried the corner and missed.